Welcome to another episode of Relatively Famous, the podcast where I, Chip White, interview relatives of famous people. Today's guest, I'm really excited about. His father just retired and is a rock and roll legend. We have Jasper Coverdale on. His dad is David Coverdale, lead singer from Whitesnake. He was in Deep Purple. He's just a rock legend. So I'm looking forward to talking rock and roll with Jasper and what Jasper's life is like as the kid of a rock star. And prior to that, I want to thank visitmyrtlebeach.com. That's our underwriting sponsor. That's visitmyrtlebeach.com. If you're looking for the perfect family vacation or a golf getaway with the guys or the girls or some bachelorette party, you just want to go swim at the beach, you want to play some golf, you want to fish, you want to surf, go to visitmyrtlebeach.com and plan that vacation. If you happen to have an autistic or sensory sensitive traveler with you, check out Traveling the Spectrum on Peacock, because they talk about what it's like to travel in Myrtle Beach with a autistic or sensory sensitive person. And you can learn that more about that also on visitmyrtlebeach.com. Now, also be upfront, we are in a working comic book shop, so you may hear guests in the background. That's okay. We like to sell comics here at Nelco Comics. So let's welcome our guest, Jasper Coverdale.
Relatively Famous podcast with Chip White.
Jasper, welcome to Relatively Famous.
Hello. It's great to be here.
Yeah, hey, I appreciate you getting back to me. Like, people ask me all the time, how do you find your guests? And I go, well, a lot of it's people I know, it's word of mouth, and sometimes it's just on social media. And I happened to see you on Instagram, and I sent a message, and you replied, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, of course. I don't know. I love talking to people. I love reaching out to people and getting an opportunity to do something like this. It's something I've looked forward to for a really long time. So I'm appreciative that you did reach out.
Cool. Now we're gonna talk about Jasper a lot, but I do want people to know who might not be as very familiar with your dad as I am. Kind of give us a quick background of who your father is.
David, the legendary bard. He is a singer-songwriter who was very prominent in the late 70s, 80s, and early 90s, talking about Live at Donington 90. But he has been doing music since he was like 16 years old. It has been his lifeblood, everything that has encouraged him to move forward and figure out whatever path he wanted to take. He's done it through writing songs and sharing his stories and the sentiments of others, and even fantasizing certain ideas and, giving it to the audience in a way where they can just carry it forever.
Now he recently in 2005 did what most rock and rollers don't do. He announced his retirement. Do you think he means it?
I think he does mean it. I'm fairly certain he means it. I know that touring and the whole life has been 53, 54 years since he was doing it before he joined Deep Purple. He was touring back when he was a teenager, which is amazing. But that sort of convergence of all of that energy, it's time for him to check out something new, I think. I think he's ready to explore more avenues in life and discover new things for himself, which I'm very proud of him for doing.
That's awesome. Okay, here's a question that I ask a lot of people, and I love the music answers I get from this, and may throw it off a little bit. What did your childhood smell like?
What did my childhood incense? Patchouli and sandalwood incense. I don't know how I was able to get that right off the top, but we grew up, well, royal we, I guess. I grew up at Lake Tahoe, which is a very, spiritually inclined place. Everyone sort of has their own little ritual at home there, and ours was lighting incense sensor burners all over the house to like elevate the energy. So I remember most of my childhood, walking by and seeing incense sticks that were, smoldering and little smoke streams flying out. And eventually I got really into it. So now I've got incense burners all over my house too.
That's awesome, man. Um,
Yeah.
I love Lake Tahoe. I love the area. I love skiing there or snowboarding. I'm not a skier. I love spending
Hey, let's go.
going in the summer because it's just such a beautiful place. Now, what is it like to grow up in Tahoe? Because I grew up in a tourist town in Myrtle Beach, obviously. I
Yes.
think of Tahoe as a tourist town. What was it touristy for you? Did you feel the difference in the seasons, or was it kind of year round for you? Does that make sense?
Oh, well, it's great because you know when people are going to show up and then you know when people really aren't. So if you want to have like a big beach day with all of your friends, you go right before Labor Day, no, right after Labor Day or right before Memorial Day. Kind of went backwards there, but May was like the best time to go to the beach, and then September was the best month of the entire year. So it was very fun getting to see the patterns and then knowing when the sleepy times were, when you could kind of like hibernate energetically if you're a people person, or if you're an introvert, that's when you're going out and doing everything, because the town goes from like 2,000 people to 10,000 people in two different seasons. So June through August, you've got a huge rush, and then there's a bit more of a trickle through the winter seasons, just depending on how much snow there is. But summer and Tahoes are always reliable. I mean, sometimes you can even ski in the summer. Sometimes the hills, the slopes, they still got snow on them.
Yeah, I've been there when the snow's been phenomenal, and I've been there when skiing's not that great, just because that happens. And it's interesting, like you're saying, to watch the crowds. Because when I grew up, Myrtle Beach was the same way. In the summer, you would have 100,000 people. In the winter, you'd have 10,000. And I'm talking the whole Grand Strand. And September, like you said, man, the day after Labor Day, I'm sure it was psychological as a kid, but the air felt different. The beach smelled different. And again, it's a 1 day difference, right? But in your mind, it's like, oh man, fall's coming. It just feels different to go to the beach back then.
It's a 1 day difference, but it's the 1 day that you leave school and you walk or drive straight to the beach. You got to get as much time as you can, either going to the beach, going up on the hiking trails. A bit of a downer thing, but not really, was, a lot of people who visit tourist towns, and you've probably encountered this too, of people leaving behind their presence a lot. So there would be a lot of initiatives post tourist season for cleanup crews, for people that would come and clean off the rocks that have been spray painted, leftover trash and all that thing. And it was always great to see the community come together and preserve the place. you know
Yeah.
that was one of my favorite times. And I'm not gonna rain hell on people who are coming to have a vacation. That's what vacation's for. But it actually did kind of add a positive element to that whole season, because it's like, okay, we get to clean this up and then we get to be dormant bears for the winter.
Yeah. It's amazing what people will leave behind. So anyway, I'm not going to bash people about but do pick up your trash, people. Come on. Um, and and I said snowboarding. You said yes. Now, are you an avid snowboarder, or do you ski? Do you love the winter activities?
I actually really like the more niche winter activities. I love snowshoeing. I love off trail snowshoeing, cross country skiing. I had a bit of a bad time when I was a little kid skiing, so I didn't really get on the slopes as much. But I would always go with my friends and hang out in the ski lodge and make sure everybody had like hot cocoa or coffee when they were coming down and they wanted to take a little break. But I love jet. No, not jet skiing. I mean, I love jet skiing. That's my favorite summer activity. But what?
Snowmobiling?
Snowmobiling. Snowmobiling. That's it. That was my by and far favorite activity to do in the snow.
The first time I ever went to Tahoe, years in the 80s, they'd had a huge storm and it was snowing, and we went snowmobiling with a guide. It was just a couple of me and my ex-wife and this guide. And man, the snow was so deep. It was so wild. It was amazing. I loved it. That was probably my only experience with snowmobiling, man. And it was crushing.
Oh
So
man.
much fun. Went back in the back country, and luckily we didn't get stuck. But it's a couple of times that I thought, man, if I fall off the trail, I'm done, because it's
Oh
8 feet
yeah.
deep.
It's wilderness out there. It really is. You're in these towns and then you go like half a mile out and it's just nature. It's just the wildlands. It's really something. You got to keep your wits about you a lot when you go off those trails.
Yeah. Now, Wildlands. You sent a great picture of you and your father singing on stage. It's great. Just you're sharing the mic. It's a Dad's got the hair. You've got the hair going. I think you're a little bit younger than you are now, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah.
Are you a musician? Is that something that's instilled in you? Is something a path you might be following at some point?
Well, a couple of years ago, I actually did record some music. There was a bit of falling out with the producer, and the stems got like the master sessions, they got cut, the stems, they got cut. But I have been in the recording booth. I've actually been featured on several different Whitesnake albums. I have a couple RIAA gold selling records that are on my office wall. So, I mean, that's kind of nepo, but it was really fun to be in the booth. And I am an artist. I do a lot of writing. I was professionally acting from 7 years old until 24. And I tried to do the career pivot into music, but I realized, it's more so a hobby for me. I like to do it to express myself more so than following any particular career path.
What kind of music do you like to sing? Are you kind of like your dad, that definitely into the rock scene, or are you more a little more country or folk, or what if people were to see you or go see you live, could they expect to hear?
Everything, actually. I didn't really focus on one particular thing. I had a punk track that was like The Offspring. I had a soulful ballad that was reminiscent of The Weeknd. I had something that was like Amon Amarth. Like, I have a lot of influences. I listen to a lot of music. One of the big things about growing up with a musician audiophile father was you would hear everything. We would be sitting at the dinner table, and then Mozart would come on, and then Lana Del Rey, and then ASAP Rocky, and then Led Zeppelin, and that would just, you would just hear everything. My dad loved all sorts of music, and I think that's kind of what I inherited, was the fact that I love having a malleable style that I could really plug into a bunch of different niches and just play with my voice.
Yeah. Okay. So we're in Tahoe. We're strapped into our snowboards. We're about to get on the lift, and you look over and you go, "Check this song out. I want you to hear this before we go up." What song would be on that? I'm going to say Walkman because of my age, but what would be on,
I
on your
love it.
phone?
I love it. Well, if we're going to do Walkman era, I would definitely say, well, I'm actually going Discman era, if I'm going to say. I've been listening to a lot of Dave Matthews Band recently. I feel like Dave Matthews is just like the perfect skiing music because, it has rhythm, it has flow, but you're also not really in your head when you're thinking about it. I feel like I would get a little anxious if I was doing a little bit too much rock. I'd want to go a little crazy. But yeah, that like day rock kind of vibe. I think that very much fits the bill of going to Diamond Peak at Incline.
Okay. I like that. I'm not sure what I would play for you if I have to think about that. It would probably be something with a because I'm kind of old school surfer, like a soul surfer. Like I really like just cruising. So it would probably be something that had more of a, what's the first Fleetwood Mac song, Pelicans, or what's that song called? The instrumental. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, Fleetwood would be a great pick. I love that.
That would probably be the song I'd say. Okay, because it's got that. Let's just cruise down the mountain. Okay, but real quick, back to the picture of you and your dad singing. When do you have this famous memory or this great memory of being on a stage? What's like the biggest moment of singing with him? Like the crowd, was it 10,000, 15,000, 100,000? Is there a
Oh,
moment like that for you?
so it was at the Warfield Theater, 5,000 people in San Francisco, the famous Grateful Dead Jerry Garcia Theater, right? I remember we got there and my dad said, "You're singing tonight." And I was like, "Got it." Just not even thinking about it. I got mic'd up with the deafeners and I got the lav on and I get to put one of my dad's stage shirts on. He's got an amazing collection of button ups that were his uniform for performing. Uh, and my dad has a very particular catchphrase when he's on stage: "Make some fucking noise." So when I came up for the song that I'd recorded on, because that's the one that he wanted me to sing, he gave me the mic and he was just working the crowd. I was singing solo. He gave me a moment. I was 16. One of the coolest things to happen to a 16-year-old. But I remember shouting, "Make some fucking noise" at the crowd. And I remember being blown back by how powerful the scream was that came from the audience. And from that moment, I encapsulated that. And it's like, if I'm ever really having a bad time, it's like, oh man, people love you, man. They proved it.
That's awesome. Now, acting. You said you've been an actor. What drew you to want to act? I mean, I think that obviously music, you would think, well, my dad's a musician, I'm going to be a musician. Was it wanting to be outside his shadow, so to speak? Like I'm not going to,
Mm.
I can't compete in your shadow at this moment, Dad. So I'm going to try this. I'm going to go this other route. Or is it just something inherent in you?
Well, I love entertaining people. I love making people happy. I love making people smile. I love making people feel like catharsis, And that's something that even when I was 7, when I started all of this, I knew. I knew how to make people laugh. I knew how to make people smile. And I remember we would go to see stage shows sometimes from a local troupe in Incline that performed at the Grand Sierra Resort, which was the Hilton when I started performing there before it got reorganized. So we would go there, and I just remember thinking, no, that wasn't it. It was going to see Spam-A-Lot with my dad in Vegas. We went to go see the Monty Python musical. And I remember just thinking that was the funniest thing in the world when I was a little boy. Because he put me on to all that stuff when I was young. Like, he did not wait to show me Star Wars, Star Trek, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, Chronicles of Narnia, like A Life of Brian, Meaning of Life, which was crazy to show a child, by the way. And then Monty Python and the Holy Grail, which is by and large one of my favorite things that's ever been made. So after that, I just kind of realized that I was kind of being a jester at school. And I had a little vocal coach at school. Like, I would go in at lunch, and Crystal, the music teacher at the time, she would give me private vocal lessons. And she introduced the idea to my mom about me auditioning for a performance. And I got cast in the main cast for my very first audition. So instead of getting to hang out with all of my friends, I was a little 7-year-old at script reading tables with well-versed and professional actors that have been doing it for ages. And I was just so damn silly. They were so used to it being like a rote job. And then they've just got this little firecracker who was probably a little annoying, if I'm being completely real. But I really wanted to keep the energy about it all and never let it go the whole time that I was in that cast. And I worked with that troupe for up until I was 15, I believe.
Wow,
And
that's a long
I
time for a
have
kid
only ever
actor.
wished them well. Yeah.
The
I, pardon me.
That's okay. What has been your favorite role to play? Whether, again, as
Oh,
I've said before, I don't do a lot of research. I don't know if it's theater, TV, film. I'm not sure where all your film career or your acting career is gone, because I wanted to have the conversation with you about it. What's been your most memorable or favorite, or that man, it's not the peak because you're young, but it
Of course.
feels like a high at the moment.
When I was a senior, you know how every senior has like a senior project, right? Like they've got their thing that's going to show them like what their preliminary steps are for going into adulthood. And they actually had to invent a new drama class in Nevada for me because I had exceeded the amount of appropriate credits for taking drama classes in high school. So I was the only student in the entire state that was in drama advanced studies. And that meant that the local, like the fall play, my teacher wanted me to assistant direct, help produce, help do set design, help figure out everybody's costumes, work a little bit on casting, and also star and narrate the thing, all within a 2-3 month span.
Wow.
That was one of the best experiences I've ever had. I had so much creative control over this play, which was are you familiar with Commedia dell'arte?
I am not.
It is a like pre and during Renaissance. Do you know Harley? Well, you've got comics. You know Harley Quinn?
Yes.
Her whole aesthetic is based off of Arlecchino, which is a character archetype from that form. So it's very much like slapstick, physical comedy, body jokes, like good-hearted ending, big fantastical elements. We had a demon girl on stilts that was like 11 feet tall.
Wow.
And masks. So everyone would be wearing a mask, and that mask would then become the character. So I played the narrator, and then I would don the mask and then become this wizard character. And that's kind of how it went for everybody. Everybody had a specific role, specific physicalities, and the way that the characters would be conveyed would mostly be through exaggerated movement. So there was a lot of choreography, a lot of developing the right way of speaking. It was a very detail-oriented piece, and I could be very intricate and specific when it comes to projects that I work on of, okay, no, we need to adjust this just a little bit and then fine-tune this, make this work out. And that show, I had invested at least 70 hours a week, I think.
Wow.
And making sure everything went to par. And I wasn't tired through any of it. I was excited. And on top of all of my school, all of my AP classes and everything like that. So I don't know how I did it back then. I can go grocery shopping now and then I have to sleep for 5 hours, you know?
Yeah. Now, okay. Would your castmates and coworkers, would they, if we were to ask them, would they go, man, he was so damn tough or a jerk to work with? Or would they go, oh my God, that was the best experience we've ever had?
No, most of my input was towards my director, so he would get the flack.
Okay.
You know, I just noticed like this thing or that, and he would ask me like, "What do you think about this? What do you think about that?" And you know, my input would then be put in, and a decent amount of my ideas actually made the cut, which felt really good as an 18-year-old. You know, you actually feel like you're making a positive valuation on something, and then later on in that year, I actually fully directed a one-man show for myself. That was my final for the class. Was doing a one-man play where I am doing an extensive monologue. I designed the lights. I chose the stage. I chose the props, the costume, all of that stuff. So it was kind of like the first effort, but I didn't have my director's help for that project. So I really had to take everything that I was working with on him into that.
Okay. Now, you obviously love theater. A while back we had Dean Miller, Roger Miller's son, and I was talking to Dean about the play Big River, and my wife and I got to see it in L.A. when I can't remember it was a deaf company. It was the deaf version where half the cast was deaf and the other half could sing, and they would have like Tom Sawyer were two characters, one who could sing and dance and one who would sign, but they would move in
Wow.
unison. And it took, for me, I wish all theater was like that, because it sounds like what your thing was, where you narrate and you do these great movements. There was so much movement in it
Yeah.
that the beauty, you were just drawn in, because it wasn't just this person. And at one point they actually they stop everything and only the person signing to give the audience the perspective of what a deaf person watching the play is seeing and hearing, which is nothing. It was pretty phenomenal. If you ever get a
That's
chance,
so
I don't know
cool.
if they ever do it, but man, that will change your theatrical experience forever.
I adore that. I love that. That's such an interesting perspective of things. I'm so glad to see that sort of representation is there.
Yeah, you can look it up. I think there are clips of it about it. And of course, Big River's such a great play anyway, and the music's
Oh,
phenomenal.
yeah.
Now, as a child, your dad's been a rock star your whole life. My sister's not been famous my whole life, but I love the fact of walking through airports, especially back 20 years ago when the fame was really like at the height. Walking through airports and you passing people and you're watching them as you get closer, and you're passing that ticking in their mind like, hey, that's so and so, but you've passed. Do you ever experience that with your dad? What's it like being out in public? Or are these
Oh, man.
memories of like, is that so and so, or unfortunately people coming and bothering you? What's that part of being the child of a rock star like?
Well, it's really cool when you are like getting the special star treatment in like an airport, where people want you to they want to clear the way for you, in a sense. Like, I don't like airports. I don't like them. But I love traveling. So the fact that, an airport would want to provide like one of those little shuttle things so you could just like drive across it. Love that. It really depends on where you go. Like, in the US, a lot of people are more reserved about if they want to approach someone of prestige, whatever it is, whether they are a singer, whether they are on TV, whether they're a politician that they know about, just random examples, obviously. But if you go to South America, it's like the fucking Beatles. You are There are just people so excited, like nothing they've ever seen before. And you can tell that dreams are coming true. And you can see the glisten in the eye, you can see the tremble in the hand. And it's so darling to see someone really have their dream made, even in just passing through an airport. The perspective of seeing places that you would never really expect there to be groundbreaking interpersonal change. It i can i can be upset about people who wanted to come up to my dad on like my birthday when I was a little kid or something, but I would much rather look at the fact that I have seen more people's lives turn positively upside down from something like this than to cling on to a moment that was a little, disenfranchising for 15 minutes to something that someone has been waiting for their whole life. I think
Yeah.
that there's just something special to be able to have that sort of presence and energy regarding someone else.
Yeah, and I think rock stars have a different fan base, so to speak. I don't know. It is that kind of like, here's this guy is up on stage and he or she they've been singing my song, in my life, and I'm just the chance I get to say hi to them is probably a little different than obviously my sister. She's on a game show, but it's
Of course.
phenomenal the lives that she's touched. I hear about in talking to people today, which blows me away. Now, we mentioned earlier when we first kind of connected about, and we talk about it on the show. It's like, how do you make your own sunshine when you stand in the shadow of someone? And David Coverdale is a big name. It's a big shadow. How is Jasper making his sunshine? How are you stepping out from that shadow? And I don't mean it in a bad way, because like I'm proud of my name. I'm proud of my sister, and I'm never going to try to be not her brother. Does that make sense? What I'm saying, you're never going to want to not be his son, but you want to project your own sunshine at some point. How was Jasper doing that? How are you doing that?
Honoring the name. And that sounds very generic, but, leaving a very positive impression on my community, whether it's, supporting people at the farmer's market, helping your neighbor move stuff, being hands on to what is going on in your direct surroundings, um, representing our name well, being, just doing everything to be good, whether it's for my family or whether it's for, my blood. I say my family, my girlfriend and our cat. But it really has to just do with just being the best person that I can, whether I see someone I think is dressed really well, and it's just like, dude, nice fit, just in public, just little random acts of kindness everywhere I go. It doesn't matter if it's in a capacity of working or whether I'm just running my own errands and shopping, or even if I'm just not feeling my best. I would rather see someone perk up because they didn't get told, they don't remember the last time they got told something nice randomly in public.
Yeah.
I know that seems kind of vague, but if you were to see me in public, you'd definitely understand what I mean.
No, I understand what you're saying, and being on the edge again. Being the son is much different than being the brother, and I'm not ever going to doubt that. Being a parent is much different than being the brother. Being the cousin is different. Being the son, I've gotten to do some really cool stuff as the brother. My niece and nephew have gotten to do some even cooler stuff being the kid. What's the coolest thing, like, being David's son that you've been able to experience because of that? Because you're either with him or the name. I met Gene Kelly. To me, that was awesome.
Man, did
Sly Stone. I've
you?
met tons of people, but yeah, for me to meet Gene Kelly at a New Year's Eve party was like, dude, I'm 20 something. That just was awesome. What's been
That's
that moment
incredible.
that you've been able to achieve or be at that because of the fact that you're with your dad?
Globetrotting. I think that I have been to every perceptible continent in my life before 30, which is a feat, I would say. I don't think that that's something that many people really get to truly understand. And I've gotten to see so many different shades of the world. I've been to East Africa, Japan. I really want to go to China and India. I've been all over Europe, South America. South America is incredible. That was just one of the best times ever. I have friends that I've made from all over, whether it's just from silly stuff that I've done on the internet or genuinely just met in person while we were in Greece or France or Japan, as I said. A lot of my friends, a lot of my international friends are from Brazil and Argentina. So being able to really just understand more of this incredible tapestry that is humanity, I wish more people had the opportunity to travel and just see things and do things and eat delicious food and just or do something entirely different from what you're used to, such as going to Istanbul and hearing the call to prayer every morning. And that may not be something that most people in America or the UK or whoever is listening, Canada even, would really understand. And being able to really see what the daily life is like for most people around the world, it really gives you an amazing perspective on how to go about your own life in better ways and more fun ways.
Yeah, I've been fortunate to travel quite a bit, and I remember going to Africa, and you think, especially when you get out, and it's kind of touristy because you're traveling with guides and stuff, but to still think it's like, oh my God, these people have nothing. But in reality, they have everything. I mean, they've got shelter, they've got food, they've got space, they've got no one demanding from them. It's like the old saying, like the rich kid went to visit the poor guy and he comes home and he goes, I can't believe tells his rich dad how poor we are, because they had everything, right? And they're happy, man. The kids, I did a film doing behind the scenes in a film in Sri Lanka, literally in the dump. The production company had built a new little village so they could use this village in the city dump. And these kids were they had nothing, but they were so happy, man. It's like, there's life beyond the internet. There's life beyond this rock stage and stuff. And it's pretty phenomenal to see. Like you said, I wish people could really realize just how petty some of our problems are. I like to say, yeah, I'm whining about problems of privilege, because my roof is leaking,
I mean, I think that's what the perspective thing is, because when I spent a month in East Africa, and, waking up at dawn every day for all of our little activities. We did some humanitarian work. We did some safari, all that. No hunting. That's not my deal. But hunting with a camera, absolutely. Taking pictures is what I mean.
Yeah.
But I had a very bad depressive episode when I got back from Africa. I was thinking, when I was on the plane, I was just like, oh, I get to get back to my gaming computer. I get to see my friends and go to the bars again. And then when I got home, I was just like, man, it's not the same at all. It is not the same. You're not in life in the same way. You are living, of course, but, less people look you directly in the eye, less people listen, and you notice it. You really notice it when you get back after a long time abroad. And it took quite a while for me to readjust and, take what lessons I learned and apply them without feeling like I was being judged or being judgmental, It took a while, maybe a year, for me to really integrate what I learned abroad into my daily life. But I mean, boy, it really helped me. It really helped me. And that was 8 years ago. And a lot of the stuff that I learned from that year is still very prevalent to my every single day that I live now.
Okay. Give me quickly a
Yes.
life lesson that.
A life lesson?
Give me a life lesson. If we were just like this, we've had this conversation. You go, God, Chip, here's a life lesson that I've learned, and share it with me.
In the words of Rocky Balboa, we got to keep moving forward. That's just what it is. The moment that you stop or the moment that you regress is the moment that everything is going to become harder. You're going to look for other things to blame. You're going to find excuses against yourself. But if you just keep moving forward, you're always going to find where you need to go. You just got to trust that process and always keep moving forward.
Now, that's funny you said moving forward. I played the world's greatest chess player in a short film called A Chess Player.
I
played the world's greatest chess player named Tony Summerall. And my father actually plays my father later in the movie. And we're sitting across from the table, and I'm explaining the game to him. And I said, the pawn, it can only move forward. And he looks at me and he goes, always forward. And that's kind of like the line from the movie. So that was a great life lesson. Now, we're running out of time. What did I not ask you, or what do you wish we'd have talked about? Or what's a question that no one ever asked you? Like, well, why doesn't somebody ever ask me blah?
Why don't people ever ask me about my professional gaming career? No, I'm just kidding. But
I'm interested in that. Okay, I had no idea.
No, it wasn't ever professional. I just I streamed for a little while, and I had a little bit of fun with that. But no, I think we really captured a lot of fun topics. I feel like so much of me is relative to travel, is relative to music, entertainment, making people happy, and general philosophies of life. So I mean, gaming is a decent part of it, but I know that that's a bit, it's kind of hard to capture unless you're kind of in it, so I get it.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Favorite song of your dad's? That's gonna be my last question. What's your favorite song of your father's?
Forevermore. Forevermore is just the most incredible track I think I've ever heard. It may be my favorite song next to Beautiful Day by U2. And Judgment Day is a good follow-up. And Nighthawk from the album Trouble, 1978. If you haven't heard it, give it a shot.
Cool. Well, Jasper, this has been a blast. I'm super excited we connected, and I don't know, man. I hope our paths cross, in person someday.
Yeah, me too, man. Visit myrtlebeach.com.
There you go. Yeah. Hey, if you're going to go to Myrtle Beach, let me know. Are you a golfer by chance?
Every now and then. I'm a bit of a hobbyist, so
Okay.
yeah, I would totally.
Yeah. Well, we can play 18, and we can do a lot of searching for my lost shots into the woods, because I don't know what I never keep it in the short grass. Anyway.
Of course, yeah.
Dude, hey, tell your father, hey, he doesn't know me, but tell him I said hi. And Jasper, thank you for being with us today.
Of course. Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
This was a pleasure. Really enjoyed this.
Cool. I had fun. It's fun to talk to someone a lot younger than me about life and learn some lessons from them. Jasper, thanks for being on. And I want to thank you, the audience, whether you're listening or watching on YouTube or however you're streaming us. I'm grateful that you take the time to watch and listen to Relatively Famous. Without you, I'd just be sitting twiddling my thumbs. And I want to thank our producers, Nelco Media, and I want to thank Nelco Comics for the great location. It's a working comic shop here in San Antonio. If you're looking for comics, check them out. I want to thank visitmyrtlebeach.com. That's visitmyrtlebeach.com. Again, that's my hometown area. There's just so many fun things to do there, family-oriented, golfing, surfing, scuba diving, going to the amusement park. There's just a million things to do, and it's a whole lot of fun, and you can plan all that at visitmyrtlebeach.com. And lastly, if you happen to be related to someone famous or know someone related to someone famous, I'm always looking for guests. You can reach me at podcastrelativelyfamous@gmail.com, podcastrelativelyfamous@gmail.com. Thanks.
You've been listening to Relatively Famous with Chip White. Please like and subscribe to Relatively Famous with Chip White.